Hey guys, so I've given you a few rules, sort of, just loosely as we've gone along, but I wanted to make that a more formal lecture now. So let me give you a few rules about commas, and then I'll have a little exercise for you to do. Um, Let me share the screen a second here. Okay, now let's break this down. We'll just say rule number one will be a comma with the boys fan words, and those would be but, or, yet, so. I'm going to leave out for, and I'll tell you why in a minute, and nor. The reason I'm leaving out for is it's the sense of for that means because. And it seems like a very old-fashioned word these days and really doesn't fall into this rule because of that. Not many people say for when they mean because. I did not go with them on the trip to California, for I did not have enough cash on hand. So most of us would say because or since, right? We wouldn't say for. So let me talk about this rule also as a sort of, I'm going to call it either or rule. And here's what I mean by that. So either you have and or but or so or for, not for, right? We skipped that one. Or nor in the middle of a sentence, and we see a complete idea afterwards. We see something that has a verb, a subject, a verb, and it is a complete thought. In that case, we put in a comma right before the boys fan word. So if you see this first sentence, he laughed and I was angry at him. He laughed, complete idea. I was angry at him. It's got a subject, it's got a verb, it's a complete idea. Put in a comma after laughed beforehand. Mac promised his undying love but regretted it right away. So I'm going to look at the part that comes after but. Regretted it right away. Let's pretend for a second that that first part wasn't even in here. Regretted it right away. Regretted it right away. That's got a verb. Wait, that's not a complete idea. Who regretted it right away? Right? We don't know. If we just look at that part, we don't know. Therefore, it is not a complete idea, and I am not going to put a comma in there. You see what I mean by either or? So Mac promised her his undying love, but what if I had put in I'm sorry, he. We're referring to Mac, right? He regretted it right away. Let me put a comma in there because now I have a subject, he, I have a verb, regretted, and I have the whole idea in there. But the way it was, without he in there, we would not do a comma. I didn't do any chores, and that made my mother mad. Now, the that here is referring to the fact that I did not do any chores. So that is a complete idea, and therefore, I would put in a comma. I told them to wait and went to find the proper forms. Okay, let's take out this part for a minute, right? Let's just do away with it. Went to find the proper forms. That's not a complete idea. What would make it a complete idea? We would have to have an I in there again, right? So we depend on the I at the beginning of the sentence to be the subject for this part of the sentence. Therefore, it is not complete, and I would not put in a comma. Get it? Either or. Either you do have a complete idea afterwards, put in the comma. Or you don't have a complete idea afterwards, don't put in the comma. Now, the next rule is going to be, sorry about that, forgot to silence my phone. The next rule I am going to refer to as comma after introductory elements. Now I'm calling it elements, but I don't want to call it a complete clause. I don't want to call it an independent clause. I don't want to call it a gerund phrase, ing phrase, because by elements, I mean a lot of those. A lot of these happen with words that are on your joining words and transitions list and under joining words. And they are what are called subjunctive conjunctions. You don't need to write that down or anything. It just means that you can start a sentence with after, with when, with since, with because, with although. You can start a sentence with all of those. And when that happens, you are guaranteed to have a comma. So look at the first sentence here. After 2 days, she told everyone what was happening. After 2 days, she told everyone what was happening. Put it in the comma. And you hear the pause, right? You hear the pause when I say it. By the time I got out of the hair salon, I already disliked the way they combed my hair. Seems like a small thing to worry about. Okay, by the time I got out of the hair salon, comma. Now, what's another way that we can identify the fact that there needs to be a comma there? I already disliked the way they comb my hair. That's the main part of the sentence. By the time I got out of the hair salon just leads up to that. So you see how we have two ideas in there? Now, I don't know what this one is doing on the same line. Let me jump it to another line. When he finished bowling, he gave me his phone number. Okay, when, at the beginning of a sentence, guaranteed comma. When he finished bowling, pause, right? He gave me his phone number. Now, I also wanted to include under introductory elements is all of the transitions that you saw in your list of joining words and transitions. So all of those ones on the right side of that list. However, furthermore, since, since is not one. Therefore, thus, for example, I've got a couple of them right here. So, however, comma, the day came and I had to go back to school. Oh, by the way, there's another comma in here, right? Because and then we have I had to go back to school, which is a complete idea. So we do want to put in a comma there. You see how Microsoft Word saw that I was making a mistake there? In the back of the room, you can see a small window. In the back of the room is a prepositional phrase, and it is an introductory element. So anytime you have in or on or at or by or, probably you're going to need a comma there, right? By the side of the road, comma, I saw a small dog. So, and again, you hear that pause element coming into that. As you look at the center of my room, you will see my bed with an oak-colored headboard. As you look to the center of my room, comma, you hear that pause, right? And also, as is on our list of joining words. So certainly if it's going to start a sentence, we're going to look for that comma. I think I mentioned in introducing this rule, ing phrases, gerund phrases. Taking a glance in the store window, he thought he saw some furniture he would like. Taking a glance in the store window, comma, he thought he saw some furniture he would like. Now, that's ing when you're leading up to something, right? If we're using ing as a noun, then no, we're not going to worry about commas. Walking is something I do every day. Okay, we're not going to say walking is something I do every day. It's when we have an ing and then we have the comma and then we have a complete clause in there. For example, I just threw this in. For example, is one of the transitional words on our list. Threw in another one here after I heard about it the next day. See, look at that double underline. Microsoft Word is trying to tell me something. Let's see if it's a comma right here. Whoa, it is. I don't know why it's underlining school. After I heard about it the next day, they sent me some information about the school. So my mom and I went down to check it out. Oh, I think I know why they're giving me the double underline under school. Looks like there should be a comma there too. So is one of those voice fan words up here. S for so. So that's the either or rule. Either we have a complete clause afterwards and we put in a comma, which I do, right? My mom and I went down to check it out. That's a complete idea. So put in that comma. First of all, I would consider a transition. So let's see if that comma works to make that disappear. It does. First of all, some students take too many classes at one time. Okay, the next one I'm going to identify as rule number 3, and that will be commas, now plural this time, pay attention, commas in the middle of a sentence. Let me change that a little bit. Commas that show an interruption in the sentence. Okay, so if we have a phrase or a clause right in the middle of the sentence, we need to show where the interruption begins and we need to show where it ends. Okay, check out this sentence. They think that if they pass the test, they will automatically pass the course. Now, I think that my interruption comes right here because I think the main part of the sentence is they think that they will automatically pass the course. So I want to put in a comma right here, but wait, I need another one. Where does my interruption end? Right after test. So let me read it one more time with the pauses in there. They think that if they pass the test, they will automatically pass the course. Now, some of you basketball fans will know that, hey, Mr. Smith, you're working with an old document here and you should update it a little bit. Boris Diaw, who came to Phoenix in a trade with Atlanta, is playing very well for the Suns. So which and who will often show an interruption in a sentence. So I'm going to put a comma right here, and I'm going to put a comma right here. And then I'm going to tell you that the main part of the sentence is Boris Diaw is playing very well. Boris Diaw, oh, by the way, he came to Phoenix in a trade with Atlanta, is playing very well for the Suns. So often those interruptions are like a way of saying, okay, I'm going to add some information here. And I need to show a comma at the beginning of where I added that information and a comma at the end. Now this sentence right here has who in it also, but strangely, I'm not going to put any commas in there. I'll tell you why. The man who hit me had a dragon tattoo on his left arm. Now, well, let's say that you did have a comma right here, and then we said that the that the interruption ended right here. The man who hit me had a dragon tattoo on his left arm. Here's the problem. There is more than one man in the world. So by saying the man had a dragon tattoo on his left arm, it's like saying that there is only one man in the world. We need who hit me to be a modifier in that sentence to identify which man we're talking about. So no commas in there. So it's kind of tricky. You know, when do you use a comma with who and when do you not? Let's say Joe Morris, it's kind of strange to say who hit me yesterday. Let's say yesterday. Joe Morris, who hit me yesterday, and I'm going to change this, has a dragon tattoo on his left arm. Now, in that case, yes, we do put the commas in there because we already have the man identified. His name is Joe Morris. So we're just adding some information into the sentence. The last one here, I'll put down rule 4, and that will be commas in a series. So we have 3 items in the sentence, right? They brought cakes, cookies, and pies. We have 3 items in the sentence. We can't just leave it like that. We have to separate those items. So a comma right there and a comma right there. Now, a lot of times, you know, people whose whole life is grammar will argue that maybe not put the comma after cookies because you already have and in there. So it's kind of an optional one at that space. You know, that looks fine too when I erase that comma after cookies. But if you have 3 or 4 or 5 or, you know, a whole bunch in a series, you have to have commas to interrupt those. Okay, so as I said, there will be a little exercise that will help you kind of solidify some of these concepts, and look for that, and I will see you later in class.